Okay, so welcome everyone. I'm Lisa Rosenthal, and I'm joined by my co-host, Bruce Libman, who's the founder of the Accountants Resource Group. And our guest today is Doug Niffen, who is president and many generations with the Viking Agency. Welcome, Doug.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Awesome. So Bruce and I know you for a significant amount of years. And so while we know so much about you and we know how interesting you are and all of the additional things you do other than running your agency, I want you to share all of those things because you and I both know as an entrepreneur or a business owner, you don't get from A to Z in a straight line. And the journey is what we're here to talk about, right?
All right. Well, so my journey started early in the insurance world. Like my father, as you alluded to, was in the insurance business, and I went to college, came out of college, went into the insurance business, and did that for another number of years. At the same time, I happened to have a passion for racing cars. So in the middle of doing the insurance stuff, I raced cars professionally for a number of years, which involved running and owning my own team and that kind of stuff. Then, continued on with the Viking Agency, purchased the Viking Agency, and my wife and I started traveling and doing travel vlogs, which ended up, we have a side hustle that's a little out of control where we do content for YouTube, Instagram, Amazon, all that kind of stuff. So as you said, it is a winding journey, but all of them have like the common thread of entrepreneurship and relationships and working on that kind of stuff.
So this podcast is called The Ultimate Client Strategy because what Bruce has been teaching for 30 years, which is strategic relationship development, right? And I know you and Bruce have worked together for a long time. And Bruce, why don't you share a little bit about your experience with Doug?
There's some things I'm never never gonna let the world know. All right. No, yeah, one of the I think of fun moments, and one of the fun moments we had, well, we had a meeting at the garage that you did years ago. All right, which was really exciting. All right, just to experience that. I mean, it is a love of yours and a great passion of yours. All right. And you could see it in the way you were describing what you did and showing us the cars and so forth and so on. So it was really a great event that we did. Should have had more people there, but it was really, that was a great morning.
So Doug, do you find that sharing those personal passions that you have with people professionally helps you develop long-term relationships?
Yeah, certainly, because, I think ultimately those relationships are all about trust, and people kind of tend not to trust people unless they kind of know them and understand them. So like if you can share those passions and interests, you have the things that make you unique and different, then you build that trust with whomever you're working with or talking to.
Absolutely. So one of the questions I ask folks often is, what's a high-level skill that you have separate and apart from the work you do? You happen to have a few.
Yeah,
Well,
it is.
I have a few, and I think a high level skill that I think I do have is the being complacent with my skills. Like I'm always still working on my skills, certain things like communicating. Like even I probably thought I was a good communicator when I was 25 years old, and then when I was 35 years old, and I'm still working on doing a better job all the time, right? You have to have these skills and those build relationship skills and all those things. I think I'm really good at working with people and pretty good at communicating with people. But, I think the important thing is education and working on things. Like if you don't keep working on these things, they stagnate and go back.
So do
Yeah, you
you,
have to always refine your skills. Always refining your skills.
Got to keep going.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
so do you find that the relationships evolve as you evolve? Your client relationships?
Yeah, of course, the client relationships evolve and change with time. Like there are periods, even, in we've all been doing this long enough, and we've been through changes in the world, right? Like our relationships with our clients and people were different 10 years ago before the pandemic than they are now. People have different expectations and things. Some are less good, and in terms of our actual clients, I mean, I'm second generation in the business, but we have fourth generation clients now, right? So, our relationship with the grandparents led to the great grandparents, led to the grandparents, to the parents, and now their grandkids who are, and so all those relationships have to evolve and change with time, right? Like I can't have the same relationship with the 22-year-old couple that just got engaged that I did with their grandfather who's now 85, right? They're two totally different relationships. So they certainly evolve and change with time.
I think there's a level of trust that comes along with that longevity, right? And sometimes you have to earn that trust again with a new generation, just like you have to earn somebody's trust, right? As a younger person taking over for your dad, right? With some of his clients, I'm sure, as he retired. But some of the things that make relationships sticky is being open and transparent, being accountable, owning the responsibility we have in the relationship. And I think that's something that people appreciate over and
I
over.
mean, it's really important to a relationship, even on like simple levels. Like, I do a lot of travel and that kind of stuff, and it, probably once a year, whatever, we go on like some big trip, and with technology, whatever, I could absolutely be in Egypt visiting the pyramids and answer calls and emails and stuff with my clients and not tell them that I wasn't around. But I kind of think that transparency is important. I'm like, look, I'm out of the country, I'm on a trip, but I see your issue, we're addressing it, and I think that all goes to that relationship. And I think people trust you when you do that, because if somewhere along the line they find out like you're not around and they're talking to you and they thought you were there working on something in some level, they had some version of an expectation that you hadn't communicated with them, then that breaks down that trust.
Bruce, you have a question for Doug.
Yeah, he is just the ultimate entrepreneur. All right. Because as he described his life to this point, all right, he knows, and most people realize that becoming second generation, he could be sitting in that office right now just looking at the computer. And it was not in his soul to do that. All right. No, he was too restless to want to do that. If people are listening now, if someone's listening right now and they're struggling, especially with their growth, what's the one thing that you believe they should focus on immediately?
For growth in general, not like specifically having to do with the multi-generational business thing, like in terms of growing, just to be. So again, I think I really prescribe, and it's a function of me being second generation in my business, but I think it has really fed into my growth in all the different businesses, in the sense that, my father really did very much prescribe that relationship with your clients. Like, if you build that relationship with your client, that trust with your clients, they will refer you to the people who they trust and they want you to work with, and they will support you even in those times where maybe things don't go exactly right, and you have that level of trust. And that is a longer burn in terms of growth, but absolutely a more stable and vibrant way to grow, at least for me. Like, there are plenty of people who make a lot of money putting a bazillion ads, buy your insurance cheap from XYZ, and they grind through things, but that's just not the way I want to live and the way I want to work. So instead, I work very hard to be a trusted advisor and a part of clients' life, and somebody who they look to when they have questions, whether it be about insurance or something else. And I think as long as you work on that path and are diligent about it and work hard to build those relationships, the growth will absolutely come from that.
Well, from the time that your dad built that business to where we are today, big changes in the insurance industry.
Oh, yeah.
Big changes. All
Yeah.
right. So again, I understand the vision of trust and reliability, but there has to be a great challenge in the 21st century compared to what your father had built in the marketplace in the insurance industry. So especially as an independent.
Yeah, I mean, it gets harder and harder. Just again, it's not like every other business sees this, right? Where you have more responsibility and you're doing more work and you're probably making less revenue than you did in the past. But at the same time, the easiest part for me is I am such a believer in the product and the value we bring to our clients. I've been doing this long enough. I've seen too many burnt down houses and factories that were destroyed by a storm or whatever, and if I don't do my job right, they're going to have a permanent problem the rest of their life. And so I take a lot of pride in what we do, and I think we bring value to the community and the world. And so sure, things change in the business, like whether it be there are years, we're all in the New York metro area kind of thing, and there are years where there are a couple storms and the insurance companies don't want to write property on, near the coast or whatever, and that's a stress in the industry. And then there are years where they're doing well and they're like, we want to write everything. We don't care if it's sitting on a cliff overlooking the water, so those things all evolve and change, and you just have to be flexible in what you're doing, like, and how you do it in order to continue to grow as the marketplace changes and evolve.
Absolutely. So Doug, where and when is your next trip?
So the next trip is coming up in a couple months, and we're going to Africa for a month.
For a month. Have you ever been away
Listen,
that long?
always ends up being a month. Certain people say, oh, we're going to go somewhere for 2 weeks. And then they're like, well, it's a 30-hour flight. And once you're there, you got to stop in that country and see that for 2 days. It ends up being a month. It's not technically, I think it's like 3.5 weeks, but it's effectively in my world a month.
Are you going to different locations than you did last time?
So we start in South Africa and then we go through a whole bunch of those countries in Southern Africa. I'm blessed in that I don't have to do the travel arrangements. My wife, Nikki, she does an amazing job with that. So really all I have to do is make sure that my business is ready, that I have all the communication tools that I need set up so that I could do that while I'm away and focus on that. And I know when the day comes to pick up the suitcase and walk out the door, it's all buttoned down. So it's a little silly for me to say, but I honestly don't even know which countries we're going to. It's a whole slew of that.
So are you going to be doing a live travel blog, or are you going to be posting while you're there, or not till you get back?
Typically, it's mostly when we get back for a couple different reasons. It still creeps me out. Like if I do things live and I'm like, hey, I'm in Zimbabwe or whatever, and it's like, I don't like, we always have somebody staying at the house, but I don't really like to advertise we're not going to be there. But from time to time, we do lives, if like something's happening interesting or whatever, that really, I think the live would add value to it. If I'm standing there and there's an amazing pack of elephants and I think I can go live and share that with I'm going to go live and share that with somebody because it's too amazing not to do that. But for the most part, we shoot the video and content while we're traveling and then come back and edit it after the fact.
So because I follow you, I know how incredible your stories are. How do people find you to follow you for your you and Nikki? Like, let people know how to find you because, and one of my favorite episodes. So if you don't know Doug and Nikki, you definitely need to follow them so you can see what the trip in Africa is going to look like. But I also can tell you, you want to go watch them swim with the penguins. It's so cool.
Yeah, in the Galapagos. So if they want to find us, it's Doug and Nikki written out, Doug and A&D, Nikki Niki, and you'll find us on YouTube, Instagram, whatever. So we were actually just talking about that the other day because as part of the Amazon stuff, I actually am busy testing a personal water scooter, like for snorkeling that you do, and it takes you under the water and you drive around under the water. It is like so fun.
The little bullet. It's
yeah,
like
it's like
a bullet, right?
yeah, like one of those things. And
I'm
so I'm
watching
like,
you do it. Yeah, watch him do it.
cruising around trying that, and Nikki's like, "Oh my God, if I only had that when we were with the penguins, like, she could have kept up with the penguins or whatever." But in any case, yeah. So the penguins were a ton of fun.
Yeah, so much fun. I always enjoy speaking to you. It's always so much fun. And you're always interesting in the sense that you're always on a journey of some kind. So talking to you, I get updated on where you are in your current journey. But you're also like this podcast. Bruce and I said we've been talking about it for a year. You're like, nope, it's been 2 years. So, and that's because you're always willing to share what you know. And, I've spoken to you quite a bit about doing something like this and, what does this look like? Because you entered that world of, public communication. And this
Yeah,
is good for us.
that's it.
Well,
Yeah.
this is new for us. And you were very open and very happy to share what you knew. So I always appreciate that about you.
Well, hopefully it's helpful. We'll see.
Yeah. So that's travel blog for you and
Yeah.
Nikki. How do folks find you around the Viking agency?
So it's super easy, vikingagency.com. That's our website. If they want to reach me at the office, they could email me. It's douglasvikingagency.com. And additionally, if they wanted to call the office, the number is 516-496-7711. They're welcome to call.
Awesome. And of course, when we post all of this, we'll make sure that your contact information is there.
Yeah. It's in the link. It's in the description down below.
There you go. Bruce, do you have any last words or thoughts or questions?
No, I hope he has a great trip. I'm looking forward to watching everything, and living my life vicariously through you.
You don't want to jump on the plane, go to Africa, Bruce?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I'll do it that way, just like I do it every day, watching Instagram with all the items that you're always marketing.
All the different crazy things. Yeah.
Oh yeah, great
And
stuff.
there'll be a scooter in the pool.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and for all of your insights. I can't wait to see what Africa looks like through your eyes.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. This was awesome.
Have a safe trip, my friend.
Thank you very much.